So tell us, Mike, about a challenge that you've experienced and how it has shaped your life.
Yeah, so we've alluded a little bit to the dysfunction that I
Mm-hmm.
experienced in my work. To be totally transparent, there were two different times when I went to organizations, colleges and universities, where there was significant turnaround, millions of dollars in results and positive turnaround, enrollment increased, hundreds of students, and where my contract was not renewed. Or in one case, I was asked to resign. And for me, that just blew my mind. And there were multiple reasons for that. Some of them had to do with the organization and the leadership was not prepared for the work that would be required to accomplish the vision they had. Some of it had to do with my leadership posture, the structure that I created, the way that I worked with people, among other things. Some of it simply had to do with I wasn't the decision maker, and other people who had great ideas were not in a position to implement those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
For what I remember standing in the kitchen in Clemson, South Carolina, gosh, probably 7 or 8 years ago now, and my wife said to me, I was telling her about the dysfunction I was experiencing and complaining, like we always do to our spouses and significant others. And she said, Mike, for about 6 months, I've felt like there's a part of you that's dying, and I don't know if you're ever going to get it back.
Oh, wow.
And at that moment, in fact, I'll never forget her saying that. It's really become a part of our story. I realized that I was in a mess and that it was not only affecting my work life, but now I'm bringing that into our home and into our family. And my first thought was, if you'd told me that 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
it would have saved us a lot of pain or whatever.
You probably weren't ready to receive it 6 months prior.
And she said, that's probably true. But what she said to me was, no, I wanted you to be able to process it yourself without added pressure from me. And I thought that was very wise on her part. And so from that moment, coupled with the things that I'd heard from Mark Miller and the things that I heard from Andy Stanley, I really became a student of my wife and my kids. And that's where the vision for our work today was started. I want to help people. In fact, the way my daughter has said it, we want to help people get the help they need, even if they can't pay for it. And so we're working with a lot of big companies that can pay for it to allow us to help nonprofits and even faith-oriented organizations get some of these same high-value resources, even if they can't pay for it. So it's significantly rewarding work, a lot of fun.
Wow, that's great.
So here's the thing, and this is a great quote for your listeners today too. For all of you listening, we can never be great leaders until the mess becomes our message. We'll never be a great leader until the mess becomes our message. And I think that's something that it took me over 40 years to realize myself, that I was running from the mess or trying to problem solve around the mess. And life is not a problem to be solved. It's an adventure to be lived.
John Eldredge, what was his book that I read?
Wild at Heart.
Yes, love that book.